Welcome back. You are watching the Frontrow with me, Akisa Wandera. Thank you for staying with us. We're answering all your questions regarding the COVID-19 vaccines as Kenya continues to ramp up the vaccination exercise across the country. With me here in studio, I have Dr. Mulwa and Dr. Aya just trying to respond to a lot of your concerns on the vaccine. And before we went on a break, I'd mentioned one of the biggest concerns is around COVID and fertility. Dr. Aya, do you want to take that? Does it cause infertility?
No, it does not. Yeah, so there really isn't a way in which the vaccine would interfere with the reproductive system. So the answer is just no, it doesn't.
So then, looking at the concerns of many, and we've now given the expectant women a go-ahead to take the vaccines. So then there's another rumor that I've seen myself on social media, that women who take the vaccine or have had COVID when they were expectant give birth to children with low immunity.
It's actually the other way around.
Yeah.
So start from the beginning.
Yeah.
COVID requires, in order to prevent COVID without the vaccine, requires you to social distance. So your fertility is not an issue because you shouldn't even be close to anyone in the first place. You should be physically distant. So you require vaccination in order for you to come close to anybody to even know whether you're fertile or not. So that's one thing why people should take the vaccine. Secondly, if somebody is already pregnant, you know, just part of normal without COVID, 10 to 20% of women miscarriage. So that's the risk that's there already. Now, the COVID makes it worse for pregnant women in terms of increasing the risk of miscarriage and also increasing the risk that they end up in ICU with COVID because the immune system goes down in pregnancy. So really women should be encouraged to, both those who are pregnant and those who are not pregnant, should be encouraged to take the vaccine. Secondly, studies have now shown that some of the vaccine may get through the breast milk to the baby and offer some protective value to the baby as well. So there is an advantage.
Okay. Dr. Mulwa, I know that our phone lines are open and we have a number on the line, but let's hear Steve Sang from Nandi says, I got the jab yesterday and I have felt really sick, chills and headache. What should I do? So talk to us about the side effects and how we manage them.
I think most of the side effects that we have recorded in this country, because we are doing surveillance for adverse effects following immunization, have been mild. So you get a mild headache, you'll get mild joint pains, mild body ache, general fatigue. Some will report nausea, but all these have been mild as far as we are concerned. We have not reported a single death following immunization. We have not reported any severe adverse effects following immunization. We are keeping track of this, and I would tell him that if you experience that, to me, it means one thing, that the inoculation is working, and therefore something has gotten into you and is having an effect on your body, which is now creating the protection that we require against COVID-19.
Quickly, have we reported any blood clots, perhaps?
We have not reported a single case of blood clots in this country. Cases of blood clots have been reported elsewhere, but not in this country.
Okay, great. Let's hear those who are on our lines. Let's get our first question, and perhaps we advise that you keep it so short so that short and concise, so that we can get as many questions as we can for our experts in studio. Kevin Kipkorir from Nakuru is on the line now. Kevin, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, madam.
Yes, your questions to our experts regarding the vaccine?
I would like to ask, hello?
Yes, go on.
If there is an effect on using this drug, since some of the current religious Tuseme Kanisa churches are spreading the rumor that it is targeting youth so that they due to high population, so the vaccine is targeting at reducing the birth rate in the future. So they are claiming that this vaccine is being used so that the future will reduce the rate of children being born. Another thing is there is a rumor that this vaccine is targeting the old people, so that they might die wanaweza kufa in the next future, to give room for the newborns.
Great. Okay, great. Kevin has asked 2 questions, and there's another question here, just the same from Evans, on whether we are trying to control the population and whether it's targeting older people. So we'll be taking that. I think we have another caller on the line, just so we take a number and they respond to them. So Mercy from Nairobi is on the line. Mercy, good evening.
Good evening, Akisa. My mom is 58 years old, and she's struggling with whether to go and get the jab. Hello?
Yes, Mercy, let's just take it from the top. We've missed something.
Mom is 58. She really wanted to go and get the vaccine, but she really feels cold very early in the morning and late in the evening. So people tell her that now, since she feels like she has a cold, she's not advised the jab. So what is the way forward? What should she do?
As 58-year-old mother gets very cold, perhaps an allergy to cold, and people are telling her she'll get worse when she gets the vaccine. You'll be giving us a response to that. Nelson from Nandi is also on the line. Nelson, good evening.
So what is the way forward? What should she do? As 58-year-old mother gets very cold, perhaps an allergy to cold.
Use the volume of your TV so that we're able to get you clearly. Nelson?
I'm Enoch.
The volume of your TV so that we are able to get you clearly.
Yeah. Hello?
Go ahead.
I'm Enoch Onyanja from Nyamira.
Yes. Yes, Enoch. Thank you very much.
I'm sick of sickle cell anemia.
Uh-huh.
And I'm 61 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be vaccinated or there is a side effect?
Okay, sickle cell anemia, our experts will be responding to that. We have another caller, we take that round. Okay, that's it. A lot of questions. I think we should start from the top, where he was asking about controlling the population.
I think I would, everyone last year, across the globe, the lockdowns, the restriction of movements, the deaths that were massive deaths that were reported in many parts of the world. If there was anyone with the intent to control population, why not let the disease continue killing people? It was already killing people anyway.
Yeah.
So it can't be further from the truth. This is another myth, a misinformation, no scientific basis, and anti-vaccination, just a message from the anti-vaccination campaign, which is aimed at creating hesitancy in the population so that they don't get. But if really anyone wanted to control the population, why not the disease?
There'll be better ways to do it.
Why not the disease? Why not let the disease continue killing people? It is killing millions.
Anyway.
It has killed millions anyway.
Right.
So why not let it? So I think that cannot be nothing can be further from the truth. It is this vaccine. It's to the contrary. Its aim is to, one, regain humanity as we know it, where business, economic development, people can participate in all activities, can socialize. It is love not to visit your parents today. We want to go back to where you can go, visit your parents, and socialize with them, socialize with your friends. That's where we want the world to go back to, and not to control population.
Okay, great. Dr. I think I want you to take for Mercy, who said the mother is 58, feels cold in the morning and in the evening, and she's being told that if she takes the vaccine, it would get worse. And I'm hoping my mother is watching the show today. And also then with that, things like asthma, should they get vaccinated?
So the general rule is yes, they should. So the question then would be if this is something that has just happened or this is how she generally feels. So if anybody has any doubts as to whether they should take the vaccine specifically, because we don't have all their medical condition, then they should see a medical practitioner before they get the jab. So if anybody has any doubt, they should be checked first. But in general, there isn't an exception, because anybody with any kind of underlying condition is vulnerable to COVID, the disease, and therefore they should take the the vaccine.
Onyancha from Namira also talked about sickle cell here.
Yes, they should.
Yeah.
They should.
The comorbidities what we're talking about.
Those are the reasons
why they should be the priority for immunization.
Yes. Yeah.
Precisely. So you have any underlying condition, you become a priority target for immunization. Because when you get COVID, you are worse off than that other person who does not have another comorbid disease.
Okay. So there's another question, interesting. Can one take alcohol after vaccination, and does it have any effect? So then, do's and don'ts when you're getting vaccinated.
After how long?
Okay, didn't specify.
Why do you want to go to the hospital and immediately rush to a bath or a drink? I mean, surely. The general thing is don't mix. I mean, you're going to have those effects, those mild side effects that we're talking about, that headache and feeling tired and so on. So my advice would be that you give it a break of at least 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, if you can last that long, please do, so that we know that the way you're feeling, it's because of the vaccine. The vaccine
and
not the alcohol. Yeah.
Dr. Mulwa, Dan from Dunduri asks, is AstraZeneca vaccine lowering libido in men? Someone in studio.
Actually, contrary. There is a study published last week to the contrary.
What are you going to do?
You will make everyone go get vaccinated.
But this is purely not on the libido, but on the sperm count. That actually a study was a small study of about 50 people and showed that 8 of the subjects had a low sperm count before vaccination, and all of them after vaccination. Was it 12 weeks after vaccination? To the contrary, it has a positive effect. But be as it may, it is not reducing libido.
Okay. I'll take another question here. Ogeka Areka says, please ask the doctors whether Africa and Kenya in particular has a capability of testing the worthiness of donated COVID-19 vaccine to secure state sovereignty and national security.
No, we don't, and we don't have to. Yeah. We don't have to, because these things the vaccines have been approved by WHO, and there are fairly stringent measures in place as the vaccine goes through the whole process of being received and so on, and there's continual testing, and we have a pharmacy and poisons board that does the monitoring thereafter in conjunction with the manufacturer as well. So vaccines are in a category of drugs, I would say, very, very high in terms of the monitoring both before and after. Yes.
And still on that note, there's a question on, can somebody take the vaccine if they have food allergies? Talk to us about other allergies, perhaps.
Most of the vaccines that we're receiving do not have the common food allergies. This is something that came from the old vaccines that used to be used. So, for example, people used to talk about egg-based and so on. None of these have that. So there isn't any much in terms of food allergy or anything like sulfur and so on, which is what the egg thing is about. So the answer is it's safe for use, even those who have the common food allergies.
Okay. Hello, I contracted mild form of COVID 2 months ago and later got cured. And since my immune system developed the antibodies to fight COVID, I'm better like someone who has taken the 2 vaccines. Should I take the jab? I think we answered that.
I think for safety, anyone who does not have active COVID-19 infection should take the vaccine. Because studies have shown immunity that is developed after exposure to COVID-19 wanes after 8 to 12 weeks. And by the time it's 6 months, you almost have zero immunity as a result of the infection. So because the vaccines have been tried and tested, and immunity is lasting up to 9 months for what we know, plus, then I think it's better to take the vaccine than to stay without. And because, one, there are many variants of the COVID, and the vaccines have been shown to be protective against several variants of the disease.
Okay. So then, Mohammed Abe says, can someone with diabetes and high blood pressure take the vaccine, and are there any medical implications?
They are the #1 priority.
Priority list.
They are the number one. Diabetes, hypertension is the number one priority in terms of the people who we target to get the vaccines. And anyone who has diabetes, hypertension, or any other chronic illness should take the vaccine because they have poor outcomes, for what we know, when they get the infection.
Okay. Meresha Wit is asking, how about lactating mothers? Can they get vaccinated? I think we've answered that. The answer is yes, Meresha. Lactating mothers can get vaccinated. Should get vaccinated.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Good evening, Frontrow. When filling a COVID registry online, why is it that it forces one to choose a medical condition that one has? Example, asthma. Think better tracking?
Yes. Essentially, yeah. Essentially that.
Okay. So let's get callers. I'm told we have 2 callers. Let's see what they have to say. Charles from Maragua. Charles, good evening. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. What's your question to our experts today?
Yeah. Well, yes, the job is done day by day. Yeah. The job is done day by day. The job is done day by day.
Yes, yes.
How are you determining whether one is having a COVID-19 and yet testing isn't being done at the center? And again, how know, because it will take time for somebody to know whether he is positive, COVID-19 positive or negative, because it is not done with an abrupt or immediate effect.
Charles, could you please just repeat your question? I don't think we got... Yeah, you got the question? Okay, great. Charles, you got the question. I think we have another Samuel from Nyahururu. Samuel, good evening.
Sometimes last year, I think it's this year. Hello?
Yes, go on, Samuel.
Yeah, I'm asking, sometimes this year, PS Susan Mochache was on one of the TV stations, and she was actually speaking about those who are allergic to eggs and chicken. And she said that those people are not going to get the vaccine. But yet again, I'm hearing Dr. is there saying that we shall still get the vaccination. The correct status of the same.
Great, thank you. Do we have another caller on the line? We can take the 2, then we'll get more calls.
I think I could start with, with the issue of allergies to eggs and other food allergens. In the beginning, because like Dr. already mentions that the vaccines, the traditional vaccines, have been were traditionally made with food-based food basis, and therefore allergies to eggs and were a possibility. And because these were new vaccines, and as they were being introduced, there was need for caution. Further studies have shown that, one, there is no absolute contraindication to the vaccines when one has allergies to any food. And therefore, one, at the time when the PS was indicating, which is when we were introducing the vaccines, the scientific body of knowledge was not sufficient to guarantee that if you get vaccinated and you have an egg problem, you may not get adverse reaction. But now we have enough evidence that you are likely to get adverse effects as a result of the vaccine. And therefore, that is enough now, because scientific information keeps changing, because research is ongoing on a day-to-day basis. And from administration of the vaccines, we learn more and we update ourselves more. Just in the same way, 3-4 weeks ago, expectant mothers and lactating mothers were not supposed to take the jab. Now they are. And we are telling them, you should take the vaccine. So it's continuous updating of the scientific knowledge that is coming through.
Before we go to the other caller, there was a question from Charles from Maragua.
I think what he was asking was, why aren't we testing people before giving them the vaccine? That I may have the disease, and then you're giving me the vaccine at the same time. So the answer to that is that, first of all, 90% of people with COVID have 0 symptoms. So, you know, we would not know anyway. The cost of the vaccine vis-a-vis the cost of the test, you know that the test costs from about 4,000 shillings to about 10,000 shillings. So the test costs more than the vaccine. And therefore, there's no money in the world that we would have to test everybody first.
Then
vaccinate. Yeah. So really, it depends on only those who, if you have any kind of symptoms, then you would wait. But the effective way to do it is to just vaccinate. So the advice given is that if you feel sick, don't take the vaccine on that day. Wait until you feel well. So it's up to you to say, I am well, then I can take the vaccine. Yes.
I think there's another caller before we go on a break. All right. Let's take a quick break, then we'll come back with another round of questions. There's already a question here on that they hear that those who've been vaccinated will need to be vaccinated again after 8 months. So this are some of the questions we'll be responding to when we get back. Keep them coming, 22155. Our phone lines are also open. The numbers are on your screen. Do ask as many questions as we can. Experts are here to respond to your questions. Get you as comfortable as possible to be able to go and get a job and also encourage those around you to do the same. This is a Frontrow. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more.